It's Michelle and I down on the court today, and we're reviewing a new string from Tecnifibre they made in collaboration with Tennis Warehouse, and it's called Tecni Spin. So they called down the two spin monsters, right? Michelle and I, who probably, I mean, my backhand's pretty flat. You're pretty flat off both wings.
I could use all the spin I can get, right?
Perfect. Yeah. We can definitely add some spin to our games. Let's talk about the tension you went with, the gauge you went with, and your rackets a little bit.
First things first, I gotta give a shout out to J-Dub, who does all of my stringing. I sound like I have my own personal stringer. He kept putting Tecni Spin in everything. So I had a chance to try it at several different tensions in the Babolat Pure Drive 98. Started at 52, wanted to try it at 56. I also tested it in the Wilson Blade 100 Pro, which I am finding to be very string sensitive. So I have it at 56 today.
And it comes in both a 1.24 and a 1.28. I think we both went 1.28.
Yes, correct.
So I have it strung up at 48 pounds on a constant pull. Not sure who strung it, but not me. Someone else here at Tennis Warehouse. Thank you, whoever strung my racket. And I went with the 1.28, and I've got it in my Tecnifibre T-Fight 300. Love this racket. And a little sneak peek on what's going to come. I thought the string played great in my racket. So let's talk about power and control from this string. How did it work for you?
We ended up testing several prototypes before this came to market. So I was excited to know that this is going to be a control-oriented string with the sharp four sides. Again, flat hitter. So I really like that added spin I can get without having to manipulate my strokes. I find it to be more controlled than power, and that is perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. You haven't asked me yet, but something that really stood out for me was that I thought it was a bit of a stiffer string, but it never felt really stiff in the string bed or uncomfortable, and I felt like I was getting really good pocketing. How did it work for you?
Yeah, I definitely thought this was much more of a control string than a power string, as you would expect from most co-polys. There are some livelier ones out there, not this one.
Yeah.
Tons of control, and you bring the power yourself or the racket you're using or how you hit the ball. That's how you're gonna get the power, but it's up to the player to generate that. With this one, it's gonna let you really come through that ball very aggressively and carry a lot of tip speed, and I found I could turn that tip speed into getting the ball to rotate. So let's talk about spin. We both do hit a little bit of spin here. They were not spin monsters, but how was the spin capability of the string for you?
Well, where my spin does come in is when we've got a mean game of dingles and I'm really trying to run someone into the wall and I'm working on my shorter angles. And I found that was easy to manipulate with this strung in my rackets. I also will mention I had a chance to test the hybrid, the Techni Fuse. So I had a chance to have this in the mains while I had that round string in the crosses. And I was really leaning into getting that extra spin from there. But full bed, I think I loved it the most on kick serves, where I could get the ball really jumping off on my second serves.
When I was hitting with a lot of spin, I noticed the string doesn't necessarily snap back like you would get from some like slippery co-polys, and you get that little kick out of the string bed. It did get stuck out of position for me, but it offered a lot of grip and a lot of control on that spin. So I felt like I could feel the depth of the spin I was hitting too really well, which on my backhand slice is key because I like to play with direction and depth on that. That's when I'm gonna hit my drop shots most of the time. I don't wanna give everything away here. And then I'm also gonna look to knife that one deep with some pace too. And I found I could really control the depth of the ball thanks to the spin I was getting from this Tecni Spin string. Let's jump back into feel. You did mention it's got a slightly firmer feel. Elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, in the Pure Drive 98, it definitely felt firm but controlled and never uncomfortable. The Blade 100 Pro, I'm really struggling to dial in the right string setup, and I'm gonna say this is the best string I've played with in this racket. I have noticed that strings tend to bag out really fast in this racket and almost get too elastic, but I never had that issue with Tecni Spin, so I love the control aspect from the string in this Blade 100.
Nice, yeah, the feel for me too was firm, but not uncomfortable. I would say it's a little bit dampened, but not totally muted. So it's really kind of like riding that line of still giving you enough feel to get a good sense of where the ball is going. Like I said, the spin capability is great, and I think that enhances the feel I got on the ball. I did like it up at net. I was controlling my volleys really well. I played some doubles just the other week in the windiest conditions I've ever played in, and I was getting still good feel for the ball, which was really tough in those conditions. And I think mostly due to this string and how it interacts. Michelle, how was the durability and playability sort of duration for you?
Well, this is not the first Tecnifibre string we've tested this year, and something that I'm finding to be very common is the durability is amazing and the playability duration seems to hold up a bit over average compared to other polys. So especially in that Pure Drive 98, I felt like the string held its properties 3 weeks easily, and I didn't ever feel like I needed to cut it out in the Blade 100 Pro. Again, this one's really string sensitive, and I feel like after 3 weeks, I am cutting it out and restringing. How about you?
Yeah, I got some notching from the string bed. I didn't break a set of it. It's been a while since I've broken a set of poly.
Same.
And it is a monofilament. All monofilaments are gonna lose tension, but it's how much does that playability drop off? And with this string, I found that playability to stay pretty solid. I could keep this in a full 3 weeks. That's rare for me. Getting into like a month of using the string, I'm like, okay, let's cut it out and put a fresh set in. But I was still getting good control on the ball, still finding my targets. It never got bagged out in a lively sense. I just felt like it was a steady drop off in performance until I got to the point where like, okay, I'm ready for a fresh set. But I liked that it was a gradual kind of creep down and the playability really lasted very well for me. Okay, let's get your final thoughts on this one.
Final thoughts, I think that Tecni Spin is gonna be an awesome option for the big hitters looking for that control and confidence when hitting out, easy access to more spin, and I'm loving the color in all the rackets that I've seen it in.
Ditto. I think if you like to carry a lot of racket head speed into your shots and you really want to get control and rotation on that ball and have the string bed help you do that, this is a great way to go. That's all we got for this one. Thanks for watching. For more information on Tecnifibre, Tecni Spin, or anything tennis related, be sure to go to Tennis Warehouse, Tennis Warehouse Europe, or Tennis Only.